Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Thank you for being with us for this half-hour discussion about the upcoming 2019 AESC Cornell Advanced Certificate in Executive Search and Leadership Consulting. We're going to be together for the next 30 minutes and moving through some material that we think will offer you a strong understanding of the partnership between Cornell and AESC, give you a sense of what the program experience would be like if you were to register. You'll also hear from one of our faculty about some of the materials that will be included in the 2019 program, as well as two former participants in last year's program. So without further ado, I'm going to hand the microphone over to Brian Glade. And just to tell you a little bit about Brian, Brian is the Managing Director of the Americas and Governance for AESC. He has a vast background in human resources. Prior to AESC, he served as the lead of global member programs for the Society of Human Resource Management for SHRM, and he also represented SHRM globally. He also has a background in HR at Texaco and other organizations. For the sake of time, I won't go through Brian's extensive background, but I'll hand things over to him right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Gwen. You neglected to say the most important thing is that I'm an alumnus of this program.
Very true.
So thank you everyone for joining in today. As Gwen said, I am at the AESC, the Association of Executive Search and Leadership Consulting. And since 1959, the AESC has represented the highest quality standards in the profession of executive search. More recently, we added to our mission and to our name, actually, the practice, the profession of leadership consulting. So at this point, recognizing the direction that the profession is going, we represent executive search and leadership consultants worldwide. Our members are operating in over 70 countries, and they are really the voice of leadership. And that's what the AESC is really focused on. And so we're excited that in our partnership with Cornell, we really do emphasize the idea that our members not only represent quality, but they are responsible for identifying and acquiring the highest level of leadership talent worldwide. We have entered into a partnership with Cornell that actually dates back 6 years. It was something that we looked at when we realized that there was a need in the marketplace for executive education directed at the consultant level. And in identifying potential partners, we saw that Cornell has a really strong program in its ILR school. And so what we did is we took the ILR content, customized it, and are now presenting it as an executive education experience. This will be our third virtual delivery. The course started off as a classroom version for 1 week in New York at the Cornell Center in Midtown Manhattan. But we recognize that you all are very busy. It's difficult to travel to New York, to take time away from the office, and the expense of travel. And so we transitioned to a virtual delivery, and in 2019, that will be the third time that we're doing this. And we continue to have a very strong global cohort. That was one of the objectives of this program, is that we would bring people from around the world together to learn together, to experience the Cornell content, and to build strong networks with each other. The program itself was a huge success last year. As you can see here, we did have 11 countries represented, over 20 consultants. And it's interesting that the cohort represented large firms, small firms. We had some that were boutiques, some that were global. We had some that were participants in networks, these affiliations that we have around the world of executive search firms. And it was very clear from the feedback that we are achieving the objective of providing a high-level education experience. The technology, when we went from classroom to online, the technology was seamless. We had very good experience in terms of people's ability to access the program. to learn live, but also to continue with the education offline. And we did see too that people they're able to engage with peers at their own level. And some of that has to do with the eligibility requirements for what we look for in terms of accepting people into the program. And then of course, no executive ed program would be good unless the level of the faculty was good. And of course, the Cornell faculty are top in their class worldwide. And they all received very high ratings for the content. So 2018 was a great success. Some of the comments that we heard in the feedback was about the discussions, the ability to interact with peers. That's one thing that we wanted to be sure when we went from the classroom to the online learning, that we didn't lose that opportunity for networking and for learning from each other. The faculty was amazing. The other thing we position this course to do is to help you in your own career development. And the feedback tells us that we're achieving that too. The other part that we've always been focused on is how do we position ourselves to be trusted advisors, and that's a key component of the program. It's a common thread throughout the course, and we did see that based on the feedback that again the participants are telling us that they are better positioned to be good client relationship managers and to give the trusted advice that clients are really recommending or expecting. As we go into 2019, each year, Gwen and the team at Cornell and us at the AESC, we work together to see how we can improve the program. We see that we're going to add more opportunities to be working in teams, greater emphasis on innovation. I think I saw recently it's one of the most used words now in corporate speak is innovation. More case examples that are global, not just North American based, and increased project work. And that project work it gives people the ability to really apply what they're learning during the online sessions, and also to work with each other in teams. As you know, because you're in this profession, we've evolved since 1959 when the AESC was founded. Things like client expectations have changed, the quest for speed, client culture, the idea of cultural fit. The search process itself has changed with the advent of technology. And that's not just LinkedIn, but even AI and machine learning. Negotiating is really a critical piece of this, negotiating to a yes with the candidate and also with the client. And then the onboarding process, which is something that probably had been neglected for years, but we see more and more of our members getting involved in onboarding. So because of the way that the profession has changed over time, the need for education is greater than ever. And this course, we believe, really does fulfill that need. It really does position you with the skills, the techniques, the learning that you need to be a trusted advisor. Gwen, maybe you could give some idea of what the program looks like.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brian. I also want to mention quickly, if any of you have questions during our presentation, feel free to type them in the Zoom chat pod. You can find that by going to the Zoom toolbar on your screen and hovering over the More button with 3 dots, and then just select Chat. That should bring you to it. We'll address questions as we move through, and then there will also be a Q&A portion at the end of the session. So thanks, Brian, for that background on our partnership. Cornell is very proud to be partnered with AESC. It's been a wonderful experience working with AESC and getting to work with members of the association. Just to tell you a little bit about Cornell's ILR school, we actually have within ILR the largest number of faculty globally focused on workplace-related issues. And so that brings a very diverse and rich set of expertise to the programs, particularly in the areas of human resources, talent strategy, organizational behavior and design. and we are, again, a leader in workplace-related teaching and study. So we bring rich faculty expertise. Our faculty are also very well acquainted with the challenges and needs of organizations globally. Our faculty consistently work with and partner with organizations to provide consultation or study activities within organizations. And so within our faculty expertise is academic expertise, but also clear understanding of organizational pressures and needs. And so, as Brian mentioned, I'll give you a little bit of a sense of how we design the program. What we really see as being at the heart of the program is the role of a trusted advisor on the part of the search and leadership consultant. Really understanding deeply client-side needs and then also candidate capabilities, and being able to balance those two consistently and understand how they interconnect very well. So the consultant advisory role is at the heart of the content selection and the course design. And we really use that as our guiding North Star of program design. And with that in mind, there are 4 key areas that we focus on with regard to what you'll take away from the program. At the heart of that, again, is linking theory and practice. In the same way that our faculty are very academically expert and also aware of organizational needs, we take the expertise of faculty and that's presented in a way that's very practically applicable within your work. And so throughout the program, you'll study human capital trends that impact hiring and decisions about hiring decisions and leadership development decisions. Again, all of this will come back to your role as a trusted advisor. We'll also be providing tools and frameworks that you can use in daily practice. And we create an environment where you can take advantage of the fact that you're in the virtual classroom with colleagues who are located globally. So as Brian mentioned, we have had global cohorts, particularly since we've moved to a virtual format. And our faculty learn from global, from insights our global participants bring, and you will as well. So we try to create a learning environment and activities that allow you to learn from each other in the classroom. The 2019 program will run from January through June. This is an illustrative example of what the program will likely include. We work with AESC and previous participants to fine-tune and customize the content that's selected to be presented in the program. This is an example of core content that would be presented in 2019. And as you can see, we've increased our focus on innovation, as it's very critical, as Brian mentioned, the most used word in business currently, very critical to understand the dynamics of innovation, how organizations are addressing this, and also begin to think about how within your own firm and work you can use innovative practices and approaches to increase the value you provide clients. So between January and June, you would be participating in approximately 35 hours of work over the 6 months. This is about 25 hours of live faculty time. Each month there are approximately 3 90-minute live faculty sessions that you would attend. And then as a complement to that, on your own, you would be working both independently to prepare for the faculty sessions, and then also with colleagues in the program on some small project work. And we're going to be including more project work next year than we have in the past, so you can work across the group with peers on project assignments. At the close of the 6 months, you would receive a Cornell Certificate of Completion for having successfully completed the program. And another addition, we're including even more industry guest speakers in 2019. So we found that to be very successful in 2018. So in addition to having faculty expertise in the sessions, we'll also be inviting industry expert speakers to speak about their perspective on some of the issues in the program. This is a visual representation of the online classroom as you would see it if you participate in the 2019 program. We use Adobe Connect as our platform for online learning. So about 3 times a month, you would log in and you would see an image similar to this. This is our one of our professors at ILR, Lisa Nishi, who teaches diversity and inclusion in the AESC program. There's an image that shows who is in attendance, so you always see who of your colleagues are present in the session. And then there's a space to ask questions and interact with each other. If you happen to miss a session, all of these are recorded and they're stored in our online learning platform, which is Canvas, along with the chat. And so, you know, with many sessions happening over 6 months, we understand some people have to miss some, and so we record them and post them for you to view at a later date. And this is an image showing the firms that have associates who have participated in the program in the past. It's always nice to have a sense of the company you're keeping when you attend a program, and we're really proud to have offered executive search consultants from these organizations education through our Cornell AESC program. And so I'll now turn the microphone over to Diane. Diane's an associate professor of HR studies, organizational behavior, and sociology at Cornell. She's also an expert in innovation. Just very quickly, prior to joining Cornell, Diane was a faculty member at MIT at the Sloan School of Management. She also began her academic career teaching at Harvard Business School and earned her PhD in sociology at Stanford and taught at Stanford. So I will turn things over to Diane.
Thanks, Gwen. So I just wanted to make a few points, just a few brief points about the luxury and privilege of being able to step back from your day-to-day work and reflect in a guided way and learn some frameworks and some tools for thinking about the everyday experiences that you're having. And I think that's one of the again, joys and gifts that this kind of a program gives you. I work a lot with executives, and I know that it's really hard to step away from the ongoing demands of your jobs, but when you're able to do it and really invest in yourself and take the time, it pays off enormously. It pays off enormously. It makes you a better practitioner and a better leader. It allows you to be a better partner. And so I hope that you'll be able to take advantage of this opportunity that AESC is providing. I really enjoyed teaching in the program last year. I'm looking forward to teaching again. As Gwen said, we really believe that innovation and change are at the heart of what everyone needs to be thinking about and paying attention to. My background is in studying entrepreneurial organizations and bringing what we're learning from the newest firms and the newest organizations to larger established firms, but also with a vision of looking at industries overall. And as you know, industries are changing rapidly, organizations are changing rapidly. And just there's some facts that I think we're starting to see, but we're not really paying attention to as closely as I feel like we need to pay attention to them. One is the average lifespan of an organization is on the decline. It's dramatically shortening. So while human lifespans are lengthening, people are living longer, firms are on average living much, much shorter periods of time. What does that mean? Well, it's firm deaths, it's mergers and acquisitions, it's consolidations. It means turbulence in the employment landscape. It means really a very different labor market and industrial landscape. This idea that change is ever present and constant is one of the things that kind of we all know we're living, but what we need are some frameworks and guidelines for thinking about that. And that's what an academic program can give you and can help you with. I also, the theme of innovation is going to be so central to our program next year, in part because the search industry is changing so much. And so we'll be talking about the way the HR function and the way recruitment and talent and the way everything about the labor market and employment and the demands of senior-most leaders, what their capabilities, what kinds of capabilities people need and how you acquire them, how that's all really undergoing a radical transformation. So again, I encourage you to join us. I hope you'll join us. We have lots to talk about, and we're all eager to learn together. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Diane. I get excited about the program hearing you speak about innovation in organizations, so I hope others do as well. Again, it will be central to the program design, and we're very excited to have Diane working with us on this. Now what we'd like to dedicate some time to is hearing from previous program participants. We have two on the line with us. David Turner, who's a managing partner and head of the Latin America practice at McKinnon and Reed, and Gilles Vermeuren, who is a recruitment consultant at High Tech Partners in Belgium. And we have here on the screen some guiding outline of topics for them to offer comments on. In the chat pod, if you have questions for them, please go ahead and type them in. And thank you, David and Gilles, for offering some comments to the group.
Sure. Thanks.
Go ahead,
Good to
Gilles.
be here. David, you want to go first, or should I go ahead?
No, beauty before age. You go first.
Thanks so much. Yeah, so as Gwen mentioned, I work at High Tech Partners. We are a European executive and management search company active in the technology industry. Myself, I have a background in HR management. And for me, the goal of following the certification course was really to help with my personal and professional development, I think, but also to learn from experienced lecturers and industry professionals, while really linking I think the theory with the practice that comes from these industry professionals. So it's clear that you're in between the best of breed here with the combination of the teachers, the participants. So I think that in itself is already an invaluable experience. Maybe touching on one single topic that really was important for me is that the talent management and succession strategy was really an interesting topic. I think this is something that is becoming a very hot topic for our clients, especially in times of digital transformation. So it's good to see that there will also be a bigger focus on innovation this year, as I also believe that we are seeing changes, and we will see a lot more changes in the coming years for our profession, and also for the way organizations tackle talent management. So I think as an executive search firm or as a consultant, you should continuously be thinking about innovation and how you can adapt to stay relevant in today's world. So I don't know if you have anything to add, David.
Well, no, I appreciate your perspective, and I have to say I love the program too. So my perspective is maybe a little bit different from Gilles'. I came from industry being not executive search, and joined a firm to be an executive search consultant. So probably the biggest bang for my buck was around executive search itself. It's a relatively new profession for me, learning details about compensation management and total rewards and succession planning and all of those things weren't new to me, but they were things that I had learned a long time ago. And it was really great to talk to others that are, peers and working in the executive search industry and see how all of this applies to my day-to-day job. I thought that the interaction between the participants was really good. We had a couple of projects that we had to do together, and we paired up in teams, and that went well, even though I think my partner, or the person that I worked with on my project, was in India and I was in the States, or traveling to Latin America. So it worked great. I thought the topics were relevant. The discussion was good. The instructors are superb. They're very good. And they allowed for good dialogue amongst the participants, as you sort of typed on the side. And I've got a lot of certificates on my wall. I'm just at the age where, and have done enough educationally that that's the case. And this is one I'm very, very proud of. I was really, really appreciated getting that in the mail and showed everybody in my family. I mean, it sounds kind of corny, but it was really nice. And I'm the only one in my firm that has a certificate. So I've been able to share some of the information and knowledge with other partners, et cetera. And it's just been a great thing for me.
Yeah, I also think that as far as the virtual experience goes, for me, this has been a really good system using the Adobe Connect system. It's really good to get in there and get your comments out there, and then even during the presentations, talk to the peers and see what their ideas are about. And that for me was really one of the best virtual learning experiences that I've had so far.
Thank you so much for your comments. I'm so glad to hear that both of you found the virtual format to be interactive. Mm-hmm. We primarily use chat as the communication format in the programs, but as Jill and David were saying, it can actually get quite lively as far as discussion with faculty and among participants through the chat. It's a bit counterintuitive, but when you have some time to reflect and compose a question and offer it up, and then see that and respond and hear the faculty input, it actually leads, we believe, to very rich discussion. So that's good to hear, and I'm glad to hear the topics were relevant as well.
Absolutely.
And Brian, you were a participant.
I would add, thank you, David and Jill. I would add too, having gone through the program, that the chat feature is amazing. I took some screenshots sometimes because the content there was so rich. And I also know that there was a lot of follow-up after some sessions with people directly. When I would see that they would post something, rather than take time in the chat, I would go out to them, or they would come to me based on a comment I made. And there was more interaction even after the class on a certain topic and a sharing. And I know the alumni network is still strong in terms of people connecting with each other. Some of them meet at our global conference. Some of them still remain virtual friends, but it does lend itself to that ongoing discussion, not in the chat, but only in the chat, but afterwards as well.
Great. Yes, I've seen some networking going on since then, activities on LinkedIn and communication back and forth. So it's good to hear that that's still alive and well. We can notice that as well. So we're getting close to our closing time. We have just a minute or two, and I know we have a few people on the line. This is also being, this session is being recorded and will be posted by AESC and made available to others who are interested in the program, so just be aware of that. But we have a minute or two, and so we wanted to open the floor to those of you on the line to ask any questions that you have. Some prompts are here on the screen. You know, what interests you about participating? Are there topics you think would be most relevant, or are there any client needs that you feel would be potentially good to bring into the classroom? And just any questions at all, really, that you have about participating in the upcoming certificate program. You know, one question that we receive quite a bit is really, again, around the relevance of the content. As we mentioned, we try to blend theory and practice in the room. Thank you, Diane. Yes, don't be shy. The project work that you'll work on will all focus on how this can be applied within your organization. So there will be 3 projects over the 6 months. You'll have one at the beginning of the program, one mid-program, and then one at the close. Some of that work will be independent work where you're reflecting on what you've learned in the classroom, and then composing a paper that discusses how you might apply this within your organization, and that paper is reviewed and you'll receive feedback from peers on that paper. And then there will be some small group project work where you're interacting outside of the virtual classroom with others, and we do, as David mentioned, mentioned, try to pair individuals from different companies and countries with each other. So there's a lot of peer learning in that format. And all of this really focuses on how can this be used within the work that I do. And so we try to anchor it in that objective, and the project work will reflect that. Any other questions that anyone has on the line? Well, it looks like we've used the time right to the minute. Thank you, Diane, Brian, David, Jill. Thank you for joining us. And to all of you on the line, thanks for tuning in. And if you have questions about registering for the program, Brian is the person to speak with. Brian, if you have a comment or two about that, his contact information is on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Registration is open now. You can do that through the website. You can see there the webpage, aesc.org/Cornell. But I'm open to being in touch. You can contact me with any questions at all. And oftentimes people ask if they could connect with past participants, and I'm glad to do that. Hopefully David and Joe would be available to share perspectives directly. And so I know this is a big decision for people, and so doing your due diligence is totally expected. Please be in touch with me if you have any questions. Registration is open now, and there is a early bird discount which is available until September 14th. That's $7,000. The regular rate is $7,500, and then there's a different rate for non-members of the AESC, but we do welcome them as well. So please contact me if you have any questions.
All right. Thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.